my main thoughts have been that the Black Lives Matter movement is actually going to put Donald Trump in power.
The British psychic Craig Hamilton Parker, who accurately predicted Trump's victory in the presidential election in 2016, recently predicted Trump's re-election and that it would change the divided world. He also predicted that the Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden will withdraw from the election before November the 3rd. In a video published on August 31st, Hamilton Parker said that the ongoing riots in many states in the United States have driven more support for Trump. People who silently observe see that Trump is the one who maintains the national order. Therefore, they turn to vote for Trump. Hamilton Parker believes that the 2020 U.S. election will determine the future direction of the world. He said that the election is not only important to Trump, but it will also determine whether the world will swing to the right or to the left. During the Hong Kong anti-extradition protests in 2019, he predicted that the United States would no longer trade with the CCP, and the world would face the choice of either the US or the CCP. According to him, China will eventually move towards democracy, and the ongoing protests in Hong Kong will have a major impact on future changes in the world. He stated that the violence in the Black Lives Matter movement has aroused resentment among Americans. Arson, robbery, and chaos have made innocent businesses and people victims. Biden's support for the BLM movement will prompt some voters to turn to support Trump. Hamilton Parker said that Biden is betting his campaign on supporting the BLM and supporting racial justice, but when things go wrong, people will say, "We don't like you like this." Hamilton Parker went on to say that voters who don't express their opinions start thinking, "We need someone who can maintain law and order, and Trump can play that role we need." On August 28th, 6 Democratic mayors and a former independent mayor in Minnesota issued a joint open letter endorsing Trump, saying that they had changed their support for the Democratic Party in the past few decades. They now support Trump. They wrote in the open letter, quote, "Today, we don't recognize the Democratic Party. It has been moved so far to the left, it can no longer claim to be advocates of the working class. The hardworking Minnesotans that built their lives and supported their families here on the range have been abandoned by radical Democrats. We didn't choose to leave the Democratic Party. The party left us." Mark and Patricia McCloskey, a couple in St. Louis, Missouri, expressed their support for Trump in a speech at the Republican National Convention last month. They accused the Democratic Party of no longer treating the government's job as protecting honest citizens from criminals, but protecting criminals from honest citizens. On June 25th, about 300 BLM rioters intruded the private street of the McCloskey's community and tried to break into their mansion. When they saw someone in the rioting crowd carrying weapons, the couple took out their guns and stood at the door to protect their home. In his speech, Mark McCloskey warned the American people, quote, "What you saw happen to us could just as easily happen to any of you who are watching from quiet neighborhoods around our country." The McCloskeys were long-term members and donors of the Democratic Party. Their experience in June prompted them to leave the Democratic Party and turn to support the Republican Party. In a recent video, Hamilton Parker reiterated his vision for Trump's re-election. He said that since Trump was still a candidate for the last presidential election in 2016, he has come to conclusions that contradict the polls. And since 2019, he has repeatedly foreseen that Trump will win the 2020 election. Hamilton Parker emphasized that as an Englishman, he was not expressing his wish that Trump would win the election, but he felt that Trump's opponent, Biden, was too weak. He compared Biden to Britain's Theresa May, who messed up the UK Parliament. The point is that Biden cannot fire up passion from voters. Hamilton Parker said that he had always believed that Biden could not persist until the election night. He said, "I cannot confirm whether it is due to health reasons or something else. In short, What will happen will make him announce his withdrawal at the critical moment before the election. In the past few years, Hamilton Parker has gained fame for accurately predicting the outcome of many important international events. These events include the election and impeachment of Trump, Brexit, the election of the current British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, and the Australian fire at the end of last year.